Welcome to Spartan Sports Report. I'm Justin Allegri. San Jose State football is 1-3 following the loss on the road to the University of Utah. We'll recap that game with San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan. Also preview the upcoming home game against the Utah State Aggies to start off conference play this Saturday inside CEF Stadium at 4:30. Plus, we'll get a look at the men's soccer team with their head coach Simon Tobin. But first, let's head back to Salt Lake City for some highlights. A rowdy crowd at Rice-Eccles Stadium, 46th consecutive sellout for the Utah Utes, and they were ready to go against San Jose State. Tyler Huntley led the charge on their first drive, but Dakari Monroe would shut them down in the red zone and in the end zone with that pass breakup. That would lead to a field goal for the Utes. They were up 3-0. Montel Aaron, his second start of the season and in as many weeks. He had a tough go, though. The pass rush was great, and the Utes bring him down on the first drive of the game. So they would get the ball back, and Frank Ginda, start of another good night for him, another double-digit tackle night for Frank. He cleans up this drive and run by Moss. That would lead to a very long field goal attempt, which would be kind of a theme in this game. Several 50-yard field goals in this one. Matt Gay, though, from 56 away, and it was just enough to get over the goalpost, and his second field goal of the game extended the lead for the Utes. And then turnovers started to be apparent in this one. First from Utah, as running was Huntley. He loses the ball very late. Ethan Aguayo recovers for San Jose State to dive on top of it, but the Spartans too would fumble in this game. They would turn that fumble, though, into a field goal try from Bryce Crawford. It was up and good. Start of a good night for him, one of three he would make in this one. But I mentioned the fumbles were a problem for San Jose State. Montel Aaron goes to throw, and as he is throwing, he is hit. The ball comes free, and the Utes recover another fumble in this game in the first half. They would turn that into points, and then Montel Aaron went back to work again for San Jose State. This time, he rolls out to his left side. He looks for options, tucks it, and tries to run. Stays in play and takes a hard hit right on his right knee, and he would not return in this football game. So the Spartans go to Sam Allen. His first attempt, batted into the air at the line of scrimmage, and then picked off on the tip. Turnover for San Jose State once more on the interception. First play for Sam Allen. That would lead to this touchdown from Huntley. Huntley, who used the top receiver from Oregon last year, Darren Carrington, for 3 scores in this game. This is the first for him as he dives to the pylon and extends the Utah lead. After that, Allen would go up again for offense, and he would throw to the right side and get intercepted once more, looking for Bailey Gaither. A lot of points off the turnover for the Utes, and again, they would find the end zone once more, and it was again Carrington on this nice pass in a tight window. Carrington secures for his second touchdown of the first half, and Utah was piling on to San Jose State. Now, the Spartans did respond here, and it started with Bryce Crawford. This a 51-yard field goal try for Bryce Crawford, part of his career-high 3 field goals made in the game, and this now a career long for him that was plenty good from 51, and the Spartans were on the board. Just a couple of plays later, it was Huntley dropping back to throw, and he throws the interception. That's the first pickoff for the San Jose State defense this year by Trayvon Bieria, and it would set up the Spartans' only touchdown in the game, and it was Josh Love, the third quarterback option for San Jose State, airing it out to Bailey Gaither with the speed and grabs it in the end zone for the Spartan touchdown. But San Jose State, with that quick burst before halftime, could not come back in this one and lose on the road to the University of Utah. 54-16, the final score from Salt Lake City. Spartans now 1-3 on their season. Josh Love came in, played pretty well. 13 of 25 overall for 183 yards and a touchdown. Bailey Gaither, a career-high 125 yards receiving with that score you just saw. Ethan Aguayo really wasn't pictured in this one, but 11 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble for Ethan Aguayo. A good night for him on defense. And oh, by the way, Bryce Crawford, the Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Week with those 3 field goals he made. But the Spartans lose on the road. All right, we'll step aside here on Spartan Sports Report. When we come back, Simon Tobin, the men's soccer head coach, will join us.
Was that Mike? That's Harry. The car stopped for me.
And that's automatic emergency braking.
The Nissan Rogue family. Take on today.
Bottom line, they still can't touch you.
I'll take it.
Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics.
here on Spartan Sports Report. We're now joined by San Jose State men's soccer head coach Simon Tobin. And Coach, getting caught up here on your early season, but talk about the way your team has performed and what you felt about the start of the year.
I'll be honest, I really love my team. It's 16 newcomers, and they took a couple of hits against two great teams this weekend with UOP, top 20 team, and Northridge, another tournament team. And we played both 2-1. We're just a little bit young and naive against experienced teams, but it's a fun team that over the next couple of years I don't really lose anybody. They're going to be quite an exciting team to watch.
That's part of the fun with having a young team. When you have so many new faces, you can kind of have learning points and then move those forward as the season goes on, I would imagine.
Well, I'm glad you call it fun. Because it can be quite a strain as a coach sometimes, but no, you're exactly right. There's 16 newcomers that will be top players. You know, for the first time here, I probably should have 2 or 3 guys in the next couple of years can move on to that next level. They're very young now, but extremely talented, and just the more experience they get, the NCAA level, they're getting better every game.
Right. Maybe talk about some of the individual players now that you're seeing. I know there's a freshman that scored a couple of times for the Spartans. Talk about some of the youth on this team.
Yeah, we've got some, some freshmen and sophomores that are very good. I mean, Danny Sanchez has come in from the local Earthquakes team. I expect him to become a top player here. At the back, we have Omar Lamousse, who's playing as a freshman again. Right back, I think that last game against St Mary's that we won here at home, we had 7 freshmen on the field at one point. So rather than single too many players out, as a collective they're just very good.
So then with the youth comes some experience as well, and only a couple of seniors on this team, but Jeremy Romero off to a phenomenal start for the Spartans.
Yeah, Jeremy, I think is averaging a goal a game, which is
it's not bad, right?
Well, in soccer it's not bad at all. No, it really is. So, and especially against the teams that we've played. So he's having a good year, and he worked very hard last year. But then again, it really shows the benefit of being in your second year, and we still don't have enough players going into their second year, which makes a big help. So if all of our freshmen and our newcomers learn, they'll do just as well as Jeremy. But he really had a good spring getting ready to come into this, and I expected him to be a good goal scorer this year.
And it seems like speed is the biggest ally for the Spartans. A lot of speed on the forward positions.
Yeah, I think you've got Jeremy, and on the flanks when Danny's fit, he wasn't fit this weekend, he's got an injury, but with Suleiman Karami, another Earthquakes product, you've got 3 flyers there that can really go. And then at the back we've got Jeff Dukes and Andy Rios. Don't get a lot of the headlines, but I would say both of them have potential to go on to the next level. I mean, 2 of the MLS teams at the last game asked about Rios, and Rios, although he came from a JC program, is adjusting really well, and over these 2 years could be one of the better central defenders at San Jose State.
Talk about your goalkeeping. I know you've used a couple so far this year, and where has the inconsistencies been maybe, and trying to find the right guy? Yeah,
you're quite right. I think I was speaking to the guys down the road at Santa Clara, and they're on their 4th goalkeeper. And we had, we had Chris that started first couple of games, and he did well. But he's a freshman, he's playing his first year, although he's here his second year. He's a redshirt freshman. Alex Cluis has come in, and he's played at College of Notre Dame de Namur up the road, and he's played a couple of games. But I would say all positions are up for grabs, but it's something that when you have a very successful team, you have that position settled, and that's something that we have to address.
Well, you got San Diego this Sunday at home, Spartan Soccer Complex, just over our shoulder and beyond the bleachers over there. Talk about that matchup and then going into the start of WAC conference play.
Yeah, I think USF are a lot like us. They've really taken on a tough schedule, and their record isn't that great. Again, they lost last night to Cal 3-2, and they're very close. This will be another great game. There'll be a team that within the WCC with probably UOP and USF on Friday, USD on Sunday. But I expect all those 3, and we'll have played all 3 in the last 3 games. So the WCC is a decent conference. I expect 2 of those to go to the NCAA tournament.
All right, that's San Jose State men's soccer head coach Simon Tobin. Thanks so much, Coach.
Great, thank you very much.
Take another break here on Spartan Sports Report. More to come after this.
Ready, Tim?
Let's do this. Was that Mike? That's Harry. The car stopped for me.
And that's automatic emergency braking.
The Nissan Rogue family. Take on today.
Bottom line, they still can't touch you.
I'll take it.
Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. We're now joined by San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan. And Coach, it was another tough game on the road at Utah. And obviously it was Montel Aaron going down and Sam Allen coming in, Josh Love after that. So talk about the quarterback situation and maybe a time for Love to come in and just play free.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, it was a really tough game out there. Utah's got a great program and they're a really physical, big football team. So losing Montel early in that game was unfortunate. He's a great kid, but I was encouraged. I think Josh came in and he moved the team. And I think anytime you're watching a quarterback play, we all want him to see him complete every pass and do all that fun stuff that makes the highlight reel. But really what you want to do is you want to see your team move the football and score points. And so, I thought Josh moved the ball down the field really well. He hit some big throws. And so I'm encouraged with what we saw from him in that time, and I'm excited for him to continue to grow and develop in that position.
Well, and just the ability to come into the game too. He was a guy that was a starter, and then he was moved back into the backup role, and he was the third guy out for the Spartans in this week. So to stay ready in itself is another thing.
No, I give him a lot of credit, and also I mentioned earlier Ryan Gunderson, our quarterback coach. He did a great job making sure everybody was prepared. And then to Josh's credit, that just doing the work throughout the course of the week, so that when he did get in there, he knew what was happening. He knew what the coverages were. He didn't panic. He knew where the ball should go, and then he delivered some really accurate throws. So I think there was really a lot of good things that happened there, from a good job by Coach Gunderson and a great job by Josh. Because he didn't get first team reps. He split the second team reps with Sam. And so I was excited to see how he handled it all.
Coach, the second week in a row, the Spartans had a hard time getting some traction on the ground game. Obviously, good defense will do that to teams. But talk about the run game, and I know you wanted to see improvement there. What did you see from this one?
Well, I think, when you're playing a front like that, they're so big and athletic. Their linebacker, number 10, was just brilliant. It looked like he was, it literally looked like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He just made every tackle on the field, and because they're so big up front, it makes it hard in your zone schemes to work up to that second level and block those linebackers. And or because they're so big, you're late getting to that second level, so you don't have your runs get onto the second level and gain more yards.
Well, how do you choose the running back matchup? Because it's just a constant rotation for the Spartans. Do you feel as though maybe you need to try and get one guy in there and let him establish himself, or how do you decide whether to switch in or out?
That's an ongoing discussion on the offensive side of the ball, and really it comes down to kind of who's hot and who's making plays or who's getting some stuff going. And in the case last weekend, because they were so big and so physical, we struggled getting the ball, pushed down the field a little bit. So we started mixing and matching, seeing if there was a better fit. Is it a bigger back? Is it a quicker back? Is it a smaller back? And then always the discussion is how do they fit in the pass protection and how do they handle that part of it. So, and in that regard, Saturday they were really good. Backs did a nice job. And
I think you look at that too and say, well, if we can't get ahead of the chains early, that's where our third down conversions struggle as well.
Yeah, no question. And that was the challenge going into that game. Our discussion as a staff is okay, we need to find ways to get into third and short or third and mediums. When you're playing those guys, some of the challenges we had is we drop back trying to throw a ball down the field because we have a lot to gain for the first down, and you have to hold up in protection longer. And that defensive front from Utah is so talented and so good. It made it really hard on us.
So granted, there were a lot of turnovers in this game. Spartans forced a few, which was good on defense to see. But again, another game in which the opponent scored a lot off the turnovers.
Right. Well, and especially, anytime you give an opponent a short field, it should translate to points for them. You know, or us, you know, in the case our defense got a turnover on the 15-yard line and we only got 3 points out of it. That's not good enough. You know, we need 7. So, you know, the turnover thing is, you know, some of those hits are on the quarterback, blind hits. You know, he's got his eyes downfield. He doesn't necessarily see it coming. And then some of them, you know, tip pass on a screen play. You know, part of that is, you know, it's challenging because of the size and the length of their D-line, and the quarterback just has to find a lane to sneak that ball through to the running back on the screen game. But it was definitely, you know, a hard day that way. Anytime you turn the ball over 5 times, you're not going to win. You're going to have a hard time doing that.
Well, one good player in this game, from this game, Bryce Crawford, Player of the Week in the Mountain West Conference for special teams. 3 field goals made and 1 from beyond 50 yards. So obviously a good night for him. Yeah,
absolutely. I was really excited for him. He pounded the 51-yarder. I mean, I think I said earlier, it could have been good from 60. I mean, he did a great job, and it's exciting for him because, you know, there's been times this season where I've chosen to go for it on 4th down, just trying to be aggressive in the red zone, or a situation where I felt like we needed a touchdown instead of 3. But he went out there. He's never complained one time. He just goes about, does his job. He's a total pro, and he's a great kid to coach.
And another case of being ready to go no matter what. I mean, like you said, there have been times where you're in field goal range, but you decide to go for it, and maybe he was thinking that was more of the same, but we know his range now, beyond 50, huh?
Yeah, no doubt. And that's a real luxury to have, you know, to have confidence in a guy that you know when you're, you know, that far out that you can swing at a field goal and he can hit it.
All right, we'll take a quick break here on Spartan Sports Report. Talk Utah State here inside CEFCU Stadium after this.
Honoring all-around excellence in men's and women's collegiate competition. Every division, every sport, the Learfield Directors Cup. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook, find us online and on Twitter. The Learfield Directors Cup.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. We continue to talk with San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan, as now Utah State comes to town to start off Mountain West Conference play. Before we talk about this football team, I think a unique opportunity for fans alike to see this team. Facebook Live this weekend is the #1 platform to watch the game, which is unique in itself, but also may allow for more viewers to see this program.
No, absolutely. I think it's really a great step for us as a program. You know, considering that we are, you know, the university in the heart of Silicon Valley, the chance for us to pair up with Facebook and showcase our football team is outstanding. And I think everyone is excited because anyone can get it, right? People can watch it on their phone, they can watch it on their iPad or, you know, or their home. So it's just a really great opportunity, a great platform for us to get our program out there and to give as many people a chance to care about Spartan football to look at it and see what's going on here.
Right, now it is Mountain West Conference play, Coach, and I know the goal always is to get the team ready to go for conference play. Is this a moment where you say, all right, let's reset now, let's work on the things we need to, and start winning some football games here in conference?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, coming off the game this weekend, we had some stuff we had to clean up today, but we had a good practice. The kids, their enthusiasm, their energy level is high. I think they're excited to come home.
Yeah.
You know, they're excited about starting conference play, and I think they feel like they can do some stuff in this conference, and really that's all you want. You want your players to believe in what we're doing and to go out there and perform at a high level, and so we get to do it this weekend against Utah State. It's going to be fun.
How much have you paid attention to some of the games in conference play? I know there have been a few conference games, true conference games so far, but how much do you pay attention to those games outside when you're playing the non-conference schedule?
Oh, you absolutely pay attention. You're always Because you've got pride in your conference, right? So you want your conference to have a good showing when they're out there playing their non-conference schedules. And so everybody pays attention to that.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the first thing you check when you get on the bus after a game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so what have you seen so far from the conference? I know there have been a lot of tough games. Last week in general was a lot of tough games, but what have you seen from the conference so far?
Well, I think the conference is really strong, and some of the opponents that the conference has played have been, top 10, top 20 football programs, and so there's been some really hard battles there, but I think you saw early on Colorado State get a nice win against Oregon State, and I think everybody in Wyoming battled the Ducks last weekend, and so everyone has had stretches of good football. You can see how competitive it's going to be. We got to talk about Stanford or San Diego State beating Stanford last weekend and beating ASU the week before. So obviously there's a lot of good stuff happening in this conference, and week in and week out it's going to be a battle.
Well, Utah State comes to town, and a team that the Spartans have struggled against over the last few years when they've played each other. Talk about this football program and a down year for them last year. They're trying to sort things out themselves. Yeah,
I think we're kind of both in a similar spot, right? We both played really challenging non-conference opponents in the first month of the season. And so, they're trying to find their way, and so are we. And, obviously their situation is a little different just because that coaching staff and Coach Wells has been there, and they've done a really good job over time building that program. Obviously, I worked for Gary Anderson at Oregon State, and he was there on the front end of that thing getting going. And so, but for us, we're trying to find out who we are, and we're trying to build our program and do things our way and get our kids acclimated, in all phases of the game. So it's going to be exciting to square off with these guys. Look,
I imagine kind of a unique circumstance where you have to prepare maybe for two quarterbacks. Kent Myers goes out in the game that they just played, and Jordan Love comes in, who's a redshirt freshman, played pretty well. But who do you prep for? Kind of two different style of quarterbacks too.
Well, you got to prep for both, and just that's the only choice you have, because there's no guarantees as to who's going to be the guy or who's going to be available, and so you got to make sure that you have a plan that has carryover between both players, that you can, a scheme that you can run versus both guys, and then also something that's a little more tailor-made to stop the strengths of one or the other.
Right, and there are some differences between these two quarterbacks. Myers more of a running threat, and Jordan Love more of a pocket guy, right?
Right.
So when you look at them on film, does that change things a lot defensively for the Spartans?
Well, it does. I mean, anytime you have to account for the quarterback's legs, it definitely changes it. That's. I just think of last weekend against Utah, right? Just how dangerous their quarterback was when he got out on the perimeter and was running around. So that definitely changes your thought process a little bit. But I have ultimate confidence in Coach Odom and that defensive staff. And, I know there were some rough spots the last couple weeks, but there was also a lot of good football played by them. And those kids are playing their tails off. So I'm excited about them getting a chance to play. And whoever the quarterback is, it doesn't matter, we got to play. So let's go.
Well, whenever I think of Utah State, I always think of a strong running back game. It always seems like that's what they have. New offensive coordinator in David Yost. Are we seeing the same type of attack on offense from them?
Yeah, I think, they definitely, Yost has a lot of history. He's a really good coach. We've crossed paths the last couple of years. He was at Oregon and at Washington State before that. So we were always on the road, kind of recruiting, hanging out. But he does a really great job. He's a very, very knowledgeable football coach, and he can really, his scheme is broad enough where they can hit you with some good run game, but also some 11 personnel passing game and even some 10 personnel passing game. So it's all stuff you got to be ready for.
All right, that's San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan. Spartans here at home this Saturday, 4:30 kickoff time from Sefq Stadium. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll take another break here on Spartan Sports Report. More to come after this.
Honoring all-around excellence in men's and women's collegiate competition. Every division, every sport, the Learfield Directors Cup. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook, find us online and on Twitter. The Learfield Directors Cup.
Ready, Tim?
Let's do this. Was that Mike? That's Harry. The car stopped for me.
And that's automatic emergency braking.
The Nissan Rogue family. Take on today.
Bottom line, they still can't touch you.
I'll take it.
Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. That does it for this week's episode. Once again, San Jose State football here at home against Utah State to start off Mountain West Conference play this Saturday at 4:30, the kickoff time from CEFCU Stadium. Tickets are available by calling 408-924-7589 or visiting sjsuspartans.com. If you can't make it out to CEFCU Stadium, well, Facebook Live will have the coverage this Saturday. Our pregame show will begin at 4 o'clock on 1590 AM KLIV and the Spartan Radio Network. That does it for this week, though. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.